So I just watched Iron Lung, written and directed by Markiplier. Set in a post-apocalyptic future, a convict is welded into a tiny rusted submarine to explore an ocean of blood on a desolate moon in exchange for his freedom. So starting off with my thoughts on this film, I do want to first mention that this is based on a popular indie game set basically in the same world, and it's got a basically similar premise. You are in a submarine isolated under this blood ocean using an X-ray with radiation to basically find samples in this post-apocalyptic future, and you're a convict trying to do this for simply your freedom and to survive and be free. Now, mind you, I have been a Markiplier fan since the beginning of his YouTube career. He was always one of the first people I'd go to when a Five Nights at Freddy's game would come out, or any other popular kind of indie game at the time. He's actually what got me even into the Bendy and the Ink Machine franchise, as that game didn't even appeal to me. But it wasn't even until watching his gameplay of it, I fell in love with it. And I think it was just really due to Mark's commentary and his personality on the YouTube space. I just have always loved it. And just his gameplay and his whole everything he does essentially. So going into Iron Lung, I really didn't know too much about the game itself. I only knew you were in some submarine in a blood ocean and there's some monster out to get you. That's really all I knew about the game. So going into this movie, I didn't want to put my expectations too high. I knew I was going there to support Mark's film. This is his first ever big film, and the way he even got this film in theaters is super impressive, and I wanted to be there to show my support for it. And because at my local Cineplex on Tuesday, technically yesterday, they had the $5 movie nights, I got mine actually for $3. I was like, you know what, I'll go see it. I'll treat myself out to a movie night. I sat down, ate my little $5 popcorn, and experienced this movie finally. So, walking out of Iron Lung last night was... I'll be honest, I kind of felt a little underwhelmed by it, but it's not to say I hated this movie or disliked it. I do like it. I just really do think there's things holding it back from being as perfect as a lot of people are saying it is. And don't get me wrong, I love that people are walking out of this movie absolutely loving it. I get it. It's Markiplier. I really wanted to come out liking it more. I was disappointed actually more that I didn't come out liking it as much as I did. And I was even kind of scared to record this video and share my opinions online, because I don't want to seem like I am just absolutely hating on this movie when I am not. I just do think there are very strong positives and very strong negatives, essentially. So I would like to start with the positives, though, of course. Easy enough. The set design and the location is very interesting. I do know this game is a bit of a slow burn game. You have to have patience to play it. It is definitely one of those games where it's like, it does kind of have like a Five Nights at Freddy's feel, where you're in one location for like a certain amount of time. So you just have to be really into those kind of games. And I think how Mark executed it into this movie is pretty good. For the budget this movie was working with, I think they made really good use out of it. I think the set looks great. The ship actually looks visually neat. The blood was amazing. And I think with what they were trying to accomplish with the limited space was impressive, though I did feel at times I was like losing a bit of track, but I will get more into that with the negatives. Honestly, though, I think the most impressive part of this film was the acting and the performances. I think Markiplier's character Simon, or the convict as they call him most of the film, was very impressive. I've always known Markiplier to be a very funny guy on the YouTube space, so I really went in not expecting much from his acting, but I was rarely really impressed with how intense his character was becoming as like the movie progressed. You could really feel his isolation, his fear, and wanting to survive, his anger too. It was all very impressive on his part. I just really feel the situation of the film did make it feel very intense for his character. I have mega claustrophobia, so watching this movie definitely did make me feel at multiple times very uncomfortable and like had me squirming in my seat. And I think that especially counts for the third act of the movie. I will get more into that when I talk about my negatives, but I was like really uncomfortable during that third act. I do think the third act was amazing. I do think it's played out really well with the camera and just like, especially, I feel like they knew what they were doing and tapping into people who might be watching this who do have claustrophobia. I felt super isolated and almost drowned in what was going on, to where even I felt like I was in the situation with Mark's character. And I do think it was pulled off very effectively. Another aspect I think they translated very well into this movie was the use of the X-ray camera. I actually love how much he actually uses it, and they use it as an actual gimmick and not just it's there for a few time uses. They really lean heavy into this X-ray camera with the story, and him even finding out it's an X-ray camera and it causes radiation exposure. So the more he uses it, he's actually at risk. I did like that as well. Which then leads into my feelings about the monster throughout the movie they are suspensively building up to. And I liked it. I liked it a lot. I love the way they tease it. They don't show you, but it's very implied. It's down there with him. And even Markiplier's character knows something's down there with them, and he's freaked out by it and does not want to keep doing this. But they keep sending him down anyways and lying and manipulating him through the film. And I feel like once you get the first like reveal on the X-ray of this thing, I don't even know what it's called. It's just being called the monster. It is such an effective reveal to see it on the cameras, and you get to see its face full on. It's such an effective and really scary scene where it's like, okay, now we know he's in trouble. But I'd say that's all my positives with this movie, and I think they were all really done well. But going into my negatives, there's a lot of points in this movie where it feels very, very, very slow. It has such a slow build up. And I'll be honest, I haven't seen a movie in a while that is this slow. There were a few times I did feel like I was falling asleep a little. I pulled through it. I think it happens like bit halfway into the film is where it starts to kind of feel repetitive and slow, and not too much is going on. So you have to have like a really good attention span to get through it. And I do feel that is what's really hurting the movie. Not to mention, the movie is 2 hours and 7 minutes. To me, that is nothing. I have watched many 3 hour movies. Hell, not long ago, I just watched Avatar, and now I like love the Avatar movies and can appreciate how long they are with the world building and how they set everything up and the payoff. I feel 2 hours and 7 minutes is way too long for this movie and its setting and what's going on. I feel like they really could have like scrapped some stuff to just kind of help this movie feel better paced. I do think it has a mega pacing issue. So by the time you do get to that third act, it does feel like, okay, thank God stuff's actually now happening and stuff is getting intense, but I do think it takes way, way too long to build up to that, because I think at that point you're like, you feel half invested, but then you feel like half like, okay, just wrap this up, because there were multiple times to this movie I thought maybe they were starting to wrap it up, but then they didn't, and I was like, okay, what else is there to tell us? But honestly, I'd say that sums up my thoughts on the movie. I gave the movie a fair score, I think, of like 6.5. And then funny enough, I looked up on IMDb because I was very curious. They gave it a 6.5 as well, which I thought was actually pretty funny. So I think my rating is fair. I definitely would have a hard time recommending this to general audiences, especially because I felt kind of general in this, because I haven't played the game and I didn't know too much about it. So I was really leaning on this movie to help me understand. And you know what? In parts it did, in parts it left me more confused than other times. But I would more recommend this movie to the Markiplier fans, his loyal fan base. It is a cool experience in theaters, but I don't even think it's a movie I'll check out again. I feel like it's one of those, what I call them, one and done. I've seen it, I've experienced it. I don't really need to see it again, but I'm glad I did, and I'm glad I went out to theaters to support Markiplier and his film. And I am overall glad that the movie is doing well. I'm very happy for him, not only as a small creator myself, from small creator to a mega creator such as himself. Very happy to see that the movie is doing well and is as successful, and I'm glad it was even showing at a few theaters in my city where I had the chance to go experience it for myself. But please let me know in the comments, discuss it with me. What did you like about the movie? What did you not like about the movie? I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts down in the comments. Please let me know. And if you did like the video and the review, I appreciate it. And feel free to like it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And I will see you guys in the next one.
Bye bye!